For years, Apple seemed to have something every company wanted: a loyal customer base, massive profits, iconic products, one of the world's strongest brands, and an ecosystem so powerful that millions of people rarely considered leaving it. The iPhone became one of the most successful products in business history. The App Store created an entirely new economy. Apple Watches, AirPods, iPads, and Macs strengthened the company's position even further. Year after year, Apple continued generating enormous revenue while maintaining some of the highest profit margins in the technology industry. From the outside, Apple looked nearly unstoppable. But in 2026, a major question is hanging over the company. A question investors, customers, competitors, and industry analysts are all asking. What comes next? Not next quarter, not next year. The next major chapter of Apple. Because for the first time in a long time, Apple is facing a challenge that cannot be solved simply by releasing another version of an existing product. The biggest question facing Apple right now is whether it can create the next great reason for people to stay excited about the company. To understand why this question matters, it's important to understand how much Apple's success has been tied to the iPhone. The iPhone isn't just another product. It's the foundation of Apple's entire ecosystem. Millions of people use their iPhone as the center of their digital lives. Messages, photos, payments, apps, work, entertainment. Everything connects back to the device. The iPhone helped turn Apple into one of the most valuable companies in the world. But there is a challenge. The smartphone market is no longer growing the way it once did. Most consumers already own smartphones. Many devices last longer than before. Upgrades happen less frequently. And the differences between new models are often less dramatic than they were a decade ago. People still buy iPhones. Apple still generates enormous revenue. But the explosive growth phase of the smartphone era has largely matured. And that creates a problem every successful company eventually faces. What do you do after your biggest product changes the world? Apple has spent years trying to answer that question. The company expanded into wearables, services, payments, health technology, entertainment, cloud services, and other categories. Many of these businesses have become highly successful, but none have fully replaced the iPhone as Apple's defining growth engine. That's why the next chapter matters so much. Another reason this question is becoming more important is artificial intelligence. AI is rapidly transforming the technology industry. Microsoft is integrating AI into workplace software. Google is redesigning search around AI. Technology companies everywhere are racing to develop new AI-powered products and services. Consumers are beginning to expect smarter digital experiences. Investors are increasingly evaluating companies based on their AI strategies. And that places Apple in an interesting position. The company has always prioritized user experience over being first. Apple often waits, observes, refines, and then enters markets with highly polished products. That strategy has worked many times before, but AI is moving unusually fast. The industry is evolving quickly, and many people are wondering whether Apple's traditional approach will work in an era defined by rapid technological change. This doesn't mean Apple is behind. The company continues investing heavily in artificial intelligence, but expectations are rising. Customers want to see how Apple plans to use AI to improve its ecosystem. Investors want evidence that Apple can remain competitive in the next major technology cycle. That pressure continues to grow. There is another challenge facing Apple: innovation expectations. When a company becomes as successful as Apple, every product launch is compared against some of the greatest technology products ever created. The iPhone changed communication. The iPad transformed mobile computing. The Apple Watch helped define the modern smartwatch market. Consumers now expect every major Apple announcement to feel revolutionary. But revolutionary products are incredibly difficult to create. Most innovations happen gradually. Small improvements accumulate over time. Yet Apple often faces expectations that exceed what any company can realistically deliver every year. That creates a difficult environment. The company must continue improving existing products while simultaneously searching for the next breakthrough. And finding breakthroughs becomes harder as technology matures. Another major question involves services. Over the past decade, Apple has built a rapidly growing services business. Subscriptions, cloud storage, music, video, payments, and other digital offerings. These services generate recurring revenue and strengthen customer loyalty. But services depend heavily on the strength of the broader ecosystem. If consumers become less engaged with Apple devices, services growth could eventually face pressure as well. That's why Apple continues focusing so heavily on keeping customers inside its ecosystem. The company understands that long-term success depends on creating experiences that are difficult to leave. Perhaps the most important factor working in Apple's favor is something many competitors struggle to match: trust. Apple has spent years building a reputation around quality, privacy, security, and user experience. Customers trust the brand. Businesses trust the brand. Developers trust the platform. That trust creates enormous advantages. It allows Apple to introduce new products to an existing customer base that already believes in the company's ability to deliver quality experiences. Few companies possess that kind of loyalty, and it remains one of Apple's greatest strengths. Still, the technology industry rarely stands still. Consumer expectations continue evolving. AI continues advancing. Competition continues intensifying, and investors continue searching for signs of future growth. Which brings us back to the biggest question facing Apple right now. Can the company create its next major growth story? Can it prove that the post-smartphone era belongs to Apple just as much as the smartphone era did? Can it continue evolving while maintaining the strengths that made it successful in the first place? Those questions matter because Apple is no longer being judged solely on what it has accomplished. It is increasingly being judged on what comes next. The company has already built one of the greatest business success stories in history. The challenge now is writing the next chapter. And that may be the most difficult challenge any technology company can face. Not creating a great product, not building a loyal customer base, but finding the next opportunity after you've already changed the world. That's the biggest question facing Apple right now. And the answer could shape the future of the company for the next decade.